With the release of Update 2.10, many more viable playstyles have been brought to the table in Payday 2. Some of the old useless ARs are now wrecking shop, while some buffs have slipped under the radar, one in particular making a build unlike any other even stronger than before. You see, Payday 2's LMG class is generally designed to not work with low detection risk setups. However, with attachments, the RPK has always just about been able to make it to 23 and fully abused Low Blow thanks to the +3 concealment bonus on the Benetti 9 pistol. This was a viable and fun build to run given its crazy DPS potential, which was actually covered by Yokai several months ago. However, it did lack any sort of versatility given that you were forced to run a pretty low power and utility secondary weapon. All of that has changed as of the last update, with the RPK being granted 4 extra points of concealment, meaning the array of available secondaries to pair it with has massively widened. We can now run the concealment RPK with SMGs or explosive shotguns, granting either even more DPS potential or finally a quick and easy way to deal with dozer faceplates and shields. This comes as a huge buff to the overall playstyle, which I'm going to showcase in today's build video. The only question we have to ask ourselves is, how much damage is too much damage, and would we actually be better off simply running one of those buffed assault rifles I mentioned earlier? In fact, another question you should ask yourself is, should I be looking to upgrade my PC? With Payday 3 coming in hot and huge Payday 2 updates such as 2.10 launching only on the PC version, there's no better time for you to check out Apex Gaming PCs for my Payday range. These gaming PCs are custom built and shipped ready to use with some of the hottest parts on the gaming market inside. Remember to input the discount code Kknowley for 5% off, and any purchase you do make helps me and the channel out tremendously. Back to Payday 2 itself. Conceptually, this build is all about hitting so hard that it barely matters that we'll only be hitting about 30% of our shots. Remember, LMGs were hit harder than most weapon categories by the damage range multipliers update. The RPK, for example, only deals 80% of its usual output outside of its ideal range. This can prevent you from hitting those 1-shot or 2-shot kill thresholds, but with the additional crit damage, this 20% reduction means very little to the overall damage formula. As a result, if we roll a crit, with the base damage of the RPK, expect 1-shot kills to be the standard. So this is less about spraying and praying, more about trying to use the LMG as a sort of makeshift DMR with an insane ammo capacity and mag size. Not to say we don't go in for some classic LMG action though, whenever dozers are involved. There is, however, more of a learning curve to using LMGs outside of spraying and praying. It's about working out ideal engagement distances, handling inconsistent accuracy, and using the bipod whenever it's safe and efficient. I think running a build like this will teach you a little more trigger discipline than you'd get with, say, a standard stoic KSP setup. All that said, let's have a look at the build template. As I've already mentioned, the primary can only really be the RPK, the most concealable LMG. Thanks to those 4 concealment points we've just been granted, I can now run it with the medium suppressor, Lion bipod, concealment boost, tactical foregrip, compact laser module, AK rubber grip, and the plastic stock. That means I have 3 spare concealment points to spend, which I choose to use by bringing the Judge as my secondary. Equipped with high explosive rounds, this thing will help me deal with those troublesome shields, which would be a 9-point skill investment in shotgun or otherwise. You can also consider the 5.7 AP pistol or an SMG like the Micro Uzi if they suit your style more. Just remember to keep concealment to 31 or 30 at the minimum. I also run the suit, Molotov cocktail and ice pick to round off the equipment loadout. Moving on to skills and perks, as we're looking to abuse Berserker and Low Blow here, Anarchist is the ideal option. Not only will it allow us to run the suit for concealment reasons, it also doesn't use health as a resource, so Berserker is a no-brainer. Looking at the skills for this setup, starting over in Mastermind, as I'm playing predominantly solo, I only go up to Combat Doctor in Medic, but will give you a multiplayer Inspire version later on. We run standard Joker skills with Partners in Crime Aced for extra armor, and place a spare point in Stable Shot. In Enforcer, it's Resilience Aced, Die Hard and Bullseye for armor gating. In Technician, we ace out Steady Grip for some useful handling stats. surefire for the armor piercing, lock and load for reload speed, and then body expertise as hitting heads will be difficult without the ability to aim down sight. In Ghost we go for inner pockets and ace out optical illusions for concealment, pick up the professional ace for improved handling, and then low blow and unseen strike to max out on crit chance. Finally, for Fugitive, it's 9 lives aced for playing 1 down, and then up to Berserker aced for this full damage build. Looking at it in action, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, dozers are made of paper so long as you can hit those shots into their exposed heads. That's why the HE Judge is such a useful tool in this build. Don't rely on it for kills, but it can also help by stunning large groups, easily taking out shields and even snipers should the need arise. As with any Anarchist setup, trying to maintain a damage source at all times is ideal, and if you use it intelligently, the 2 seconds of invulnerability can easily get you past large groups or enable you to complete objectives unhindered. I actually like running Molotovs with builds like this as they can give a damage over time option when you really need it and are core in allowing you to hit Berserker health percentages from the beginning of the heist. On the topic of Berserker, try to hold off on using first aid kits or medic bags until you absolutely must. Even the 20% health you should have after being revived on death sentence is enough to pump up your damage numbers significantly. Finally, try to weave the bipod into your gameplay when possible, but don't focus on it too intensely. As we know, it can be a pain to mount up most of the time, and shouldn't really be done unless you're covered on all sides but the front. Fortunately, Anarchist is great with the bipod, as constant armor gating should help you to maintain turret mode more consistently than in most builds. For those who prefer to play with a team and want a nice easy way to grab Inspire Aced, I actually recommend going for a lower risk dodge build with Hacker. Berserker is no longer ideal here given Hacker relies more on its health pool, but with the ability to crit, it's not entirely necessary either way, so don't worry about giving up a little damage here for survivability and utility. The Hacker variant is a ton of fun to play with too. I love scooting around at max speed, disrupting large groups with the pocket ECM, and ripping through them with the RPK crits. On a close quarters map like the recently released Dragon Heist, you'll be at your max effectiveness, bringing so much team utility you won't even notice the missing damage output from Berserker. Just remember, you don't have as much armor gating potential, so sitting in the bipod state and trying to keep up DPS is not a great option here. Instead, you want to use your surprising mobility to pop in and out of cover and disrupt groups aggressively given the ECM's limited range. Now that I've ran my way through 2 amazing crit LMG build options to fit your playstyle and showcased how effective you can be with them, I'm left with just one question. Am I limiting myself by shoehorning in the RPK? You see, this used to be a bit of a holy grail build because A, it was super unique, and B, LMGs were meta dominant. These days, LMGs are not the overwhelming force in the meta they once were, and as of update 2.10, an LMG light, in the form of the Bootleg assault rifle, has risen from worthless to truly worthwhile. To put this to the test, I inserted the Bootleg directly into the Anarchist build, and used the extra concealment points I gained from the Bootleg's higher base stats to run the 5.7 as my secondary. I ran it on Hell's Island, a heist I'd already completed, with the RPK. My heist completion stats give you all that you really need to know. The Bootleg doesn't have quite the same DPS potential, but in exchange is a much more consistent and accurate weapon that will keep you safer, offer more favourable engagement ranges, and should result in cleaner, if slightly less exciting, completions. My Bootleg run was also about 4 minutes faster, and that's bearing in mind my downs occurred as a result of 2 minigun and 2 medic dozers spawning right on top of me. That being said, if you're here for a build to get you to that DSOD mask and drag you through heists like Goat Simulator, I recommend picking up one of those newly buffed assault rifles instead. However, if you're just here for a good time and want to rip your way through DSOD with a fast and loose playstyle, and simply want to make an LMG work in the sort of build it really has no right in doing, try one of the 2 crit LMG setups I've given you today. I can promise you'll have a ton of fun with it and may find a new favourite LMG in the process. The RPK is definitely an acquired taste. As ever, thank you very much to my Mean Infamy patrons and above. If you want to join that infamous club to see yourself in the credits or get early exclusive access to my videos, including the story videos, check out my Patreon, link below. Remember the Discord is open to all if you crave some more Payday discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you all very soon for the next one.